What was the biggest political scandal in your country? My country has been without a government for more than a year. Twice. The first time my country has been without a government was for 541 days. A Guinness World Record. At the moment we are without a government for the second time. Our elections were on the 26th of May 2019. So at the moment we are at 479 days without a government. Here's to hoping we achieve a world record for a second time. I live in Belgium BTW. South Africa. In Greece this list is never ending and I can't even choose any as the biggest one. Slovakia. A journalist got killed 2 years ago in February. Mafia was involved and it's still not resolved. Our president tried to create a law that would require all churches without paperwork to get owned by the government. Of course many of the churches in Montenegro were created way before paperwork was needed when Serbia and Montenegro were the same country. So basically the government would be getting tons of land that isn't even Montenegrin, so massive protests followed. Keep in mind this was all during the COVID lockdown, so massive protests just led to more people getting infected. Also this caused tons of cultural hate between Montenegrins and Serbs when in retrospect we're all the same Slavic people. Poland. Technically there is no year without scandal. One of the former prime ministers was accused for being Russian spy in 90s. Leaked recordings which ended governments. Minister of Health bought respirators for COVID patients. From arms dealer. Entire scandal with elections. Now the parliament votes for bill which allows politicians avoid punishment for anything if they prove they acted against COVID. Couple years ago in Chile journalist found that 1,113 kids living under the tutelage of the state were already dead. Their deaths were not reported. Nor investigated. When the news got out, the Minister of Justice, Javier Blanco, who was in charge of the SENAME, National Service for Minors, was then destituted only to be given a lifetime job in the State Defense Council. This was never talked about again. A 30-plus-year-old politician slept with a 15-year-old girl. In Puerto Rico. Our governor had a chat with other government officials and some of his close friends where they discussed corruption plans. They admitted to manipulating the press. They made fun of the victims of Hurricane Maria. They made sexist and homophobic comments. And it all got leaked to the public. Everyone was pissed and we formed the biggest protest in our island's history. Which forced him to resign. That was a fun summer. Not really a scandal. But one day in the 1960s, our prime minister decided to go for a swim. The catch? He went missing and was never found. A politician accidentally bought a chocolate bar with the government's credit card. After the subprime crisis in the zeros, Portuguese Prime Minister Socrates was charged with white-collar crimes for hustling public funds to finance void contracts in public construction and for changing laws to benefit certain friends and party members. He got jailed and is currently in house arrest. High-profile people of our political environment still visit him on a regular basis. Ever since then, no majority was achieved during votings and the country has since been ruled by party coalitions. The Prime Minister and his associates in the Conservative Party took $360,000 in bribes to award one company the right to build the railway to the West Coast. The scandal was uncovered and Sir John A. Macdonald resigned as Prime Minister in disgrace in 1873. Macdonald was elected PM again in 1878 and continued serving in that position until 1891. Silvio Berlusconi. Pakistani here. Not sure Reddit has enough space to cover our political scandals. We've got PM, sitting and X, assassinations, military takeovers, PM tried and hanged for murder, President plane crash, mysterious murders of PM's brothers, entire thing with war on terror, PM sacked for refusing to write a letter, PM sacked due to Panama Papers money laundering charges. Basically no PM has ever served a full term. And countless other corruption, murder, horse trading and stuff scandals. So pick one and I'll give you the details. Cries in German. Malaysian here. Where do I even begin? Haha, I'm a Malaysian too. We just had one some time ago. About a durian plantation. To all non-Malaysians reading. Here's a list of some of the scandals that have happened here in this year alone. MP caught vaping in parliament. Minister practically shaming a high schooler. Company wanting to force durian farmers off their land. And those are just the ones that I could list off the top of my head. There are more. I assure you. The Queen fired the Prime Minister, who was democratically elected, Australia. 1975. Also, in 1967, another Prime Minister went swimming at a beach and was never seen again. He Queen fired the Prime Minister, who was democratically elected, Australia. 1975. The Governor General fired the Prime Minister. Rumor has it at the behest of the Americans after it became clear that he was willing to stand up to them. Also, in 1967, another Prime Minister went swimming at a beach and was never seen again. We named a swimming pool after him. I'd say that Scotty's little trip to Hawaii while the country was literally on fire at the beginning of the year was a pretty big deal too. Our Minister of Police is for sure a rapist, but Justice don't do nothing because the Minister of Justice is against feminism, and also because he is a minister. Venezuela. I don't think the Reddit servers have the memory space for a reply that does this justice. But still. Here's a taste from Reuters, July 2019. Geneva Rosa. Venezuelan special forces have carried out thousands of extrajudicial killings in the past 18 months and then manipulated crime scenes to make it look as if the victims had been resisting arrest. The United Nations said on Thursday in a report detailing wide-ranging government abuses targeting political opponents. Special action forces described by witnesses as death squads killed 287 people in 2018 and another 569 by mid-May of this year. In what are officially termed by the Venezuelan government Operations for the Liberation of the People. United Nations investigators reported. Millie B and Sophie Aspin had big beef. That shitty was a political shitty storm. World War I and the really fked up sequel. 1MDB. I'm from Malaysia and God has this scandal destroyed my country. If you guys DK about this. Basically Malaysia's ex-Prime Minister, Najib Razak, created a company called 1MDB and was aimed at generating extra revenue to fund development around my country. He ended up funneling all the money to his bank account. He was convicted recently but some idiots still believe in his innocence. Bear in mind this is a very short summary of the scandal. Luxembourg. De Bommelier. Years ago there were a series of attacks with bombs. Years and years of investigations have brought up nothing. Except changing stories and a lot of us covering. And rumors it was one of the royal family. UK. It seems that currently everything is a political scandal. I don't even know where to begin with Mexico. Probably a PM being murdered due to someone disagreeing with a peace plan. Not a scandal but it's extremely sad. TBH. I wouldn't live in Yemen either if I had any political relevance there. Damn. Trudeau's We Charity scandal here in Canada really seems like small potatoes now. Lembit Topic banging one of the cheeky girls. Jeremy Thorpe trying to kill his secret gay lover. India. Indira Gandhi. The then Prime Minister of India imposed emergency Prime Minister's rule following her opposition winning the lawsuit of her winning the election by corruption. Mass forced sterilization of people followed, which was spearheaded by her son. The court ruled that she won the election by using unfair means and she was then barred from taking part in elections. Edit. Wanted to acknowledge that this isn't the biggest political scandal of India. In such a big and diverse nation with the political scene that is present here, there have been massive scandals and it'd be unfair to say that this was the biggest of them all. PS. Finland about 10 years ago our prime minister was bribed with stack of wood. While a bank said that they accidentally transferred like $30 million to a politician in my country. Austria. The most recent one was the Ibiza scandal. In recent history. Maybe the Grenfell Tower fire. Lots of entrepreneurs and politicians were involved in a huge apparatus of bribes which became known as manipulate or tangentopoly. When said apparatus was uncovered in 1992 by the Milanese judiciary, it caused great turmoil within the major political parties, mostly the Socialists and the Christian Democrats. The resulting distrust among the public towards the political system of the time caused the dissolution of the parties involved in the scandal and the foundation of new parties from the ashes of the old ones and the rising of a new ruling class. Part of which was also the Milanese entrepreneur and publisher Silvio Berlusconi, who won the general elections of 1994 with his newly founded party Forza Italia. The cultural impact of the scandal was such that the media refer to the period from the establishment of the Republic, 1946, to the Tangentopoli scandals as the Prima Repubblica, First Republic, and the period afterward as the Seconda Repubblica. The murder of an old Prime Minister in the 70s. He was assassinated in the middle of the capital, while coming home from the cinema with his wife. Still unsolved to this day. Americans. Let's sit down for this one. I really just hope the Our World News and Our Politics crowd shut up and realize there are problems everywhere and the world doesn't revolve around the United States. One of the biggest in the US was the Pentagon Papers. It was a huge volume of documents that detailed from 1945 to 1968 that had gotten leaked to the public about America's involvement in Indochina, which also of course includes the Vietnam War. Basically the papers said that presidential administrations from Eisenhower to Nixon had said that the situation in Indochina Vietnam was an unwinnable scenario, but they kept sending troops to die over there for a pointless cause. The VW Abga scandal. Most cars from almost all German car companies have been manipulated to show better emission values. A software was able to detect car examinations to emit less particles for a certain period of time. It had almost no consequences because the car lobby is too powerful in our country. The Holocaust. Waiting for Brazil to jump into this thread. Argentina Cristina Kirchner. There are like 6 or 7 guys who confessed money laundering with Peronist representatives during our actual vice president's 2 periods before that are being released from prison right now. Also, an attorney investigating her appeared with a shot in the head and the evidence has been so manipulated that became impossible to solve. Also, her former secretary died suspiciously this year and his patrimony was estimated in 900,000. Yes. A f-king secretary. I could go on but probably I would end up dead. Aaa venia buscando esto toma tu upvotantes gtinus mean. Yo people, stop saying Trump. For goodness sake, you guys talk him up like he's bad, but he is nothing compared to the rest of the world. Come on, get your act together. Really W that Trump team on. Come to Haiti and see what they've been doing to our women and children. And you see how our Democrat rebels. Then say Trump is problem. 8 girls was taken from families in middle of night almost every night and you Americans have none issues. Your media won't cover the news they make here. Trump is an innocent fly compared to the white demons liberals that say they help us but take our kids. Why not media for us? Because no one cares if it's not US, UK, France, or Germany. Unfortunately, I've heard of this before and it's absolutely atrocious. Israel. Existing. I guess.